So one of the things that I found really interesting was like Andrew and some of the other people talked about the idea of social constructionism. Specifically, I wanted to look at the way that we create symbols as a society and as groups, and how understanding the impact of symbols and the change in symbols can help us improve our communication skills. So I'm going to do a little experiment here. If you know what this is, I'm going to throw a few words up. If you recognize the word, just go ahead and raise your hand. Anyone speak Greek? Nobody?
Presentation.
Good guess. Okay. Philthought or philpho, depending on your language. The cross Krampone. Hakenkreuz? Anyone? Anyone speak German? Okay. Gemadion? What about now? Anybody recognize that symbol? Okay, at this point, Hitler should be screaming a speech. This is why the audio being missing is kind of a bummer, okay? Just imagine that impact, your daily dose of Hitler. Okay, so the swastika, right? The swastika has a lot of negative connotations because of fascism, because of what Hitler did with it. Now, you can't really debate that it's a powerful symbol, but the use of the symbol has changed a ton over the years. Swastika is the Sanskrit word, and it just means a lucky symbol. So originally the swastika was a symbol of good luck, of auspiciousness. And so we see it a lot in a lot of Eastern religions, in Buddhism, in Jainism, and in Hinduism. But that meaning of the symbol has obviously changed over time. There's a few examples of even leading up to World War II, the use of the swastika can vary in Western society, according to its original meaning of good luck. So this is Clara Bow. She was a film star in the 1920s in silent film. This is Mathilde Moisant. She was an early aviator. She was a contemporary of Amelia Earhart. You can see she's got a swastika pin for good luck on her uniform there. This was the patch of the United States 45th Infantry up until 1940. Okay, so we had U.S. troops in World War I marching under the swastika. Okay. So what's the point? How does this relate to communication? When we talk about communication, we often see a model where we have a sender, we have a receiver, and then occasionally we'll have noise in the channel or things that affect the message. But I think it's really helpful to look at the reality of the receiver when we talk about messages, okay? So here we have a model where I, as the sender, have my intended meaning. The receiver has their reality based on their experiences and their biases. And in that shared space is where the actual message gets transmitted, okay? So let's think about this in practice. If I show up to my presentation today with a bald head and a swastika on my chest, people aren't going to think I'm, the Dalai Lama's BFF. They're going to think I'm a skinhead, right? Same thing, if I want to show a picture of Charlie Chaplin without his hat on, how's that going to fly? Okay? Small differences in symbols can mean a world of difference to your audience. Okay? So, simple and powerful, right? We've learned from the swastika any number of things that symbols are loaded with meaning. Okay? So when you communicate, use of symbols can be really, really helpful. However, that meaning is dynamic, okay? Just because I intend a certain meaning doesn't mean that's the meaning that my audience is going to receive. So the dynamics of the meaning are subject to the audience's experience, to time, to social groups, to context. Keep that in mind as well. Also, communication is collaborative. As we communicate, whether it's in PR, whether it's in journalism, whether it's in speech comm, we need to be aware of the symbols that have meaning to our audience. How many times have we heard a celebrity, send out an awful tweet and say, oh, it's taken out of context, okay? We don't get to decide what symbols, we don't get to decide the meaning of symbols for our audience. We have to be aware of those meanings and work towards them so that when we communicate, we're communicating collaboratively, that the sender and the receiver are collaborating to create a useful meaning for that communication. That's all I got. Any questions?
So how did you make that slideshow?
It's cool, huh? This is called Prezi, and it's all online.